race this weekend with Corvette going up against Ferrari, Porsche, BMW, Aston Martin, Vipers. It's going to be a great weekend. Last night the practice went real well, as you probably heard. We were P1 and P2, but it's all about the race and enduring for 12 hours to get to the checkered flag first. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. I want to introduce some of the folks that lead the effort on Corvette. They're terrific folks. The first person I'd like you to welcome is our Executive Chief Engineer for the Corvette, Tadge Juechter. To my right, to your left, is our plant manager, just a great guy that welcomes customers and friends into the plant on a daily basis, Dave TATMAN. Dave? And somebody that you all know, our product manager, he works very closely with Tadge and Dave on all things Corvette on the product side, and also is a great link to us on the racing side, as is Tadge. This is Harlan Charles. Harlan. And I would just tell you there are many other folks here in the audience that work on the Corvette team, the Chevrolet team, and if you have questions later, you can talk to them as well. Thanks again for your business, for your enthusiasm, for being here with us today. Have a great weekend. I'm going to turn it over to Tadge Juechter for a special announcement. Tadge?
Thanks, Jim, and thanks for introducing us. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. All right, great. Well, I'm glad to have my partners here to talk about stuff today. I think we want everybody know what year it is. What year is it?
2013.
2013. It's 2013. And we have some 2013 product here for you today. And so I'd like Harlan to take you through it.
Yeah, I'm allowed to talk about it. It's 2013, so actually, I just want to point out, we have this beautiful car here. It's a 427 convertible. That was actually the fourth one built, and it's a special car, 1 year only, celebrating the grand finale of the C6 and the 60th anniversary of Corvette. And we also, if you want to take a look at outside, we have this great 60th anniversary ZR1, and it was actually the first ZR1 for 2013. Again, another beautiful car. So if these cars excite you, there's only a few left. We actually, I was visiting with Dave, we saw the last C6 generation cars come off and finding they were the best ones we ever did. So thanks. But I don't know, is there anything else we're here to talk about?
No, we don't have a lot of time, so are there any questions?
Yeah, Jake would have a question.
Jake, you have a question?
Is it true that the last 60th anniversary that came off the line, the engine was built by you, and the one prior to that was built by Dave?
That is true. We had the honor of building the last couple of engines. We had actually wanted to live that experience ourselves, and we kind of procrastinated until it sort of had to be the last one, but it was really an honor to, and we thought it kind of made sense historically, closing the circle to build those cars. So it was actually fantastic. So, good tribute. Question back here?
You guys coming up with the CO6?
Is that a C7 question? I'm sorry, we can't talk about future. Actually, why don't we talk about future product? We've been saying that for years. I think we should get on with it. We're really proud of the C6. It's had a great run. We've done a lot of things with it through its 9 years of life cycle. Models nobody envisioned when we started that car, but we were able to bring them to you. And a lot of it had to do with input we got direct from customers. And that same input had a huge impact on the car we're going to show you today. You guys have obviously seen the new Stingray. A lot of the input was driven by team members, not just Harlan and me, but a whole bunch of team members who come to Corvette events all around the country, in fact around the world, to bring the customer feedback as well as learning the lessons from racing and applying them directly to the street car in a way that makes the driving experience better. So, you guys think we should just talk, or should we show you the car? Okay, let's show you the car.
It's drum roll.
Are you ready, Ted? Drum roll.
Yeah!
Look at that.
Awesome.
Okay. When we introduced this car to the long lead media, I did a presentation talking about the content of the car, talking about what the features were, what the technologies were, and what kind of things we did, what we were thinking about. That presentation took an hour and a half, and we only have a few minutes. How many of you have seen the reveal video, were there, or seen a bunch of the other video work that we've done? So almost all of you. So I won't try to go through all of that. We do want to cover just a few of the highlights, and then we're going to take the roof off to show you the interior, and we'll let people look at it. People have asked me already, can we sit in it? There's only two show cars that exist right now. Everybody thinks the car is done. These are a couple of the very first cars we built, first production tool parts, and so they're show cars going around the world. You've probably seen them all over the place, you know, including Geneva and Amelia Island and all these different places. New York, and for TV shows and everything, it's the same cars. They're just getting trucked back and forth or flown around. So we have to keep these pristine until we get the plant up and running and building us more cars that we can actually use. So, I got questions already.
Someone said they have already made a convertible.
We've introduced the convertible. For those of you who didn't catch that, just a few days ago, actually, I was in Geneva, and we chose an international setting to introduce the convertible. We talked about it being a delayed introduction. It's still going to be a 2014 car. We've said that this coupe is going to be available third quarter this year, and the convertible shortly thereafter in the fourth quarter of this year. So we've shown the convertible. It's out there, and it's all Stingray. The whole convertible is a Stingray as well. So let me hit a couple of highlights, and then we'll to question. And I also want Dave TATMAN to talk about what's going on in the plant. Is this better? Let's see this better. Okay. We designed this car from the ground up. There's only 2 carryover parts, and we want to make sure we optimize everything around the driving experience. So we took technologies that we thought would enhance that driving experience. So all around the car, everywhere you look, every part tells a story of that line of thinking. And it starts from the very foundation of the car, the frame, the structure. You know, we brought out the 5th and 6th generation car, and we introduced the hydroform frame, and it was a paradigm breaker, a new way of building cars. This is another new way of building cars we're introducing here. We're taking that same hydroform technology, but we're adding to it a bunch of technologies that didn't even exist when we were designing the 5th and 6th generation car. Technology specific to aluminum structures, hollow castings, high pressure die castings, 7000 series aluminum extrusions, which are the lightest, strongest aluminum you can buy. We put those together everywhere it made sense inside the structure, and that's why we have a structure that's 100 pounds lighter and 60% stiffer than the steel frame of today. The convertible with the top down is actually stiffer than a Z06 or ZR1, and as you know, that roof is permanently bolted in place. And a convertible with no top at all is actually stiffer than that car. That translates into a driving experience that's much, much different. It takes almost no time in a C7 before you realize the C6 is obsolete. And I hate to say that because we still have C6s to sell, but it's our job to exceed our previous best, the best effort. And it doesn't take long in this car to know that this is truly a 21st century car. The frame is the foundation of the car. Usually in low volume for a decade. Now we're making it standard. The hood and roof on this car, standard carbon fiber. Been driving the cost of carbon fiber down. It's still very expensive, but we're now able to offer it on the standard vehicle. Nobody does that at anywhere near the price point or the volume of what this car is going to be. We use carbon and panels you can't see under the skin as well. The chassis completely redesigned. The turning circle's down by 2 feet so the car feels more nimble. Electronic power steering. The effort varies a lot depending on the vehicle situation. a sport mode for driving, briskly on the road, and then a track mode, which is hardcore for the track. All controlled by a center console switch. Controls up to 12 different things on the vehicle, and almost everything about the car changes. What you see in the instrumentation changes. What you feel in the suspension changes. The firmness of the steering that I mentioned, actually 3 different calibrations for the steering. What you hear, the sound of the exhaust changes. All that stuff tailored to those modes. We made it really simple with that button, but if you want to go in and customize it with the menus on the interior, you can go ahead and do that and set the car up exactly as you like. Speaking of the interior, when we first started talking about this car, that's the first thing we talked about. And a lot of it had to do with talking to you folks. Seats was a big issue. We had some people saying, we bit the bullet and we said, you know what, you can't make everybody happy with a single seat. And so we've got 2 seats. The seats you see here, these are the standard GT seats. Good compromise between comfort and support. And then we also have a competition seat that's even more aggressively bolstered. It's got the big holes for 4-point belts if you want to apply them. It's got a nice carbon fiber, real carbon fiber applique. Looks really cool and acts the part on the track. So we've spent the resources and the money to create 2 different seats for you. And the interior is really probably the most upgraded part of the car. Premium materials everywhere you touch, everywhere you see. Real carbon fiber on the interior. Lots of real aluminum, real metallic touches, and then premium wrapped on every car, all the way up to a full leather wrapped on the top. You can get suede if you want as a check-the-box option. Spent a lot of time in the interior integrating old world craftsmanship and the latest technology, genuine materials. If you look at the displays in this car, we have 2 8-inch displays, both reconfigurable, one in the cluster, one in the center stack. These are the high-definition displays that are the brightest in the auto industry. The center stack display is a 1,000-nit display. For example, the Apple iPhone 5, where they brag about their Retina display, that's a 500-nit display. So double the brightness of iPhone 5 inside the Corvette, and that is standard. And that center stack is so cool because we haven't showed it or make a big deal out of it, but that big 8-inch screen at the touch of a button drops down and opens that hole completely and shows a huge, 1.5 liter compartment back there where you can hide stuff. You can hide sunglasses, you can put an iPod, there's a USB port, you put a flash drive in there, and you can close that thing up. You can't even tell it's there, and it operates seamlessly with the rest of the vehicle. The V8, but we did everything we could to maximize the efficiency of that V8. So we added direct injection, variable valve timing, and cylinder deactivation, which we haven't done in a Corvette, but GM has been doing on V8s for a while. It's especially challenging to do in a Corvette, but a Corvette is uniquely suited to cylinder deactivation because it's so light and so aerodynamic. It takes very little horsepower to push it down the road, about 12 horsepower to push a Corvette down the road at 50 miles an hour. So shutting off 4 cylinders and working the remaining 4 cylinders harder is a great fuel economy strategy. In fact, in certain driving conditions, it's worth up to 15%. A lot of you brag about the fuel economy you get already. Well, this car takes it to the next level. Between the engine technologies and then doing a 7-speed manual transmission with an even taller overdrive, and it still drives great because we've got so much low-end torque. This engine, the 6.2 liter, has as much torque as our LS7 does today, below 4,000. So most of your driving conditions, you actually have just as much torque as a Z06 does. So you can put a tall overdrive in there, and you're cruising down the highway, the engine's barely rolling over, it's running at 4 cylinders, you get fantastic fuel economy. But it's about performance too. We've said at least 450 horsepower. We're still a number of weeks, maybe a month away from announcing the real horsepower, our SA certified. We're just getting ready to do that testing. We're still a few weeks and maybe a little while longer away to tell you the final pricing, but I can tell you that what we said is true. If you can afford a C6, you'll be able to afford a C7. And then I really want to touch on the exterior because it looks pretty, but we wanted to make the car look different, but we didn't want to make it look different for different sake. We wanted to make it look different in a way that made it actually function better. And what better way to learn that is here at the racetrack. And so we took the very specific race strategies and applied them to this car. Almost every manufacturer says their cars are race inspired. Race inspired doesn't mean anything. That means you watched a race and you're happy and you go to work and you do the car. We wanted to take the real race strategies and apply them to this car. So you can see the functional opening on the hood. Practically every race car uses that strategy. The air comes in the front, through the radiators, and up over the top of the car, giving downforce on the front end of the car. Almost no street cars do that. We wanted to do that in a way that was functional, but also looked really cool too. So you see the veins in there that helps keep snow and other things out of there. But each one of those veins is actually pitched at a slightly different angle to optimize the flow coming out of that and helping it keep it attached to the car and over the top. When you look at the rear quarter vents here, if you go look at the race car, you'll see about in that area on the race car, there's big inlets right there. And those inlets do exactly on the race car what these inlets do on the street car. You got a trans cooler on the left-hand side and a diff cooler on the right-hand side. It's a great way to move weight distribution rearward. We worked really hard on taking the weight distribution rearward on this car. We say 50-50, but this car is actually rear biased like the race car is. This is actually 48-point-something% on the front and over 51% on the rear. And that's what the race car does, and so that's what we did too. This car, we haven't finished all our testing, but this is handily faster than a Grand Sport on a track. Today, we said we're going to be under 4 seconds, 0 to 60 on the base car, cornering over 1G. The brakes are unbelievable. You see we've got Brembo fixed calipers, standard equipment, no sliders, no little brakes shared with like mid-size sedans or anything anymore. So first quality brakes and a lot of details all around this car. You see taken straight off the race car. So that's kind of the highlights of the car. We'll open it for questions, but I also want to let you know a little bit more about us getting ready for production. So I wanted to introduce Dave Tapman and tell you what's going on in the plant to get ready to build this thing.
Well, thanks, Tadge. Obviously, an incredibly exciting car and a car that we consider to be a real privilege to build at Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, having talked about all that technology and all the advantages this car offers to you all as drivers of the car, we have the significant task ahead of us in figuring out how to build this car. But I'll tell you what, that task has been made substantially easier because people from Bowling Green, and I've said this in many places, but people from Bowling Green have been traveling to Detroit for over 2 years. They'd leave their homes every Monday morning, they'd come back every Friday night, working hand in hand with Tadge and Harlan and all the rest of the Detroit-based Corvette team to make sure that everything about this car was stuff that we could build at the highest quality levels in the world. And so today, there is a huge amount of work going on inside of Bowling Green Assembly. In fact, if you've been to the plant, how many people have been to the plant before? Okay, well, your next visit, you won't recognize the place. We are totally transforming Bowling Green Assembly to build this next generation car. We built, as Tadge said a moment ago, we built the very last C6 on February the 28th, came offline about 8:04 in the morning, precisely the time we said it would. And that car, as you know, was a 60th anniversary 427 convertible with an engine built by Tadge. So, very exciting car. That car goes straight to the GM Heritage Center, where we'll preserve it for forever in the GM Classic Car Collection. Prior to that, there was a number of very special cars that came offline, many of which went to the National Corvette Museum, and you'll see those in upcoming National Corvette Museum raffles, which includes not only the car, the last Z06 we built has the engine that I built in it, and the third to last Z01 we built had an engine built by the chief engineer for the engine system. So lots of excitement at the end of the production, but literally, so you might guess then, every job in Bowling Green changes. There is no job that will be the same in C7, including mine, as we go into the next generation car. So it's an incredibly exciting period of time. I've got about 400 tradesmen in the plant working 2 10-hour shifts, absolutely transforming the plant. And I've told our folks many, many times, we're going to get one chance to do this and we're going to do it right. So everything about the plant we're working on to make sure that it is the world-class kind of environment, not only the world-class manufacturing system, but the world-class environment that not only all of our employees deserve to work in, that our company deserves to have, and that you all, as enthusiasts and customers, deserve to experience in your time in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So the plant is still closed to the public. Because of all the activity that's going on. It will remain that way for a period of time. I'm not sure how long. I am the guy that's going to make the decisions for when we open back up. Lots of pressure on that, and I understand that. But really, at the end of the day, my job is to build high-quality sports cars safely, and I'm focused on that. We're going to do that to be sure. One of the things that I want to say before I hand the mic back to Tadge is that Tadge made the comment about the cars that have been making the circuit. The cars that were at the auto shows, the one that was at Barrett-Jackson, the ones that were at Amelia Island last week. Those cars, and you look at them, and this is one of them. You look at those cars, you say those are gorgeous. They're absolutely perfect. Well, I want you to know these cars were not built in a model shop. They were not built in a design studio. They were built in Bowling Green, Kentucky, by Bowling Green auto workers in the Corvette assembly plant. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And that to me is a symptom or a signal of how integrated we are as a team. You know, I've been in a lot of places with General Motors. I've been in a lot of different parts of the world. But I have never worked on a product team that is closely linked as ours. The three of us are friends. Kirk Benny, many of you know, is our designer. And all four of us can pick the phone up and call each other anytime and talk to each other about the issues we see with the car. I don't think that happens in many other operations. And I know for a fact there's no other manufacturers that get to talk to our customers the way we do with you guys. So thank you for your input. You're seeing your input right here.
Great partner. It has really, we've never had a better relationship between Bowling Green and Michigan. We're so proud to design these cars in Michigan, build them in Bowling Green, race and sell them all around the world. It's just an awesome privilege. Well, I've kind of monopolized the time here, but I want to give Harlan a chance to talk about some of the other things going on with the car.
So I know what you're saying. When can I order one of these cars, right? Order guides are going to go out in late April. So April or May, all the dealers will have order guides, and we'll know what the pricing is and things like that. And we expect production for customers to start. In the fourth quarter, and you know, the Grand Sport became so popular. People like the wider look of the Grand Sport. And we know we couldn't come back and say we're going to come out with a base Corvette. So there's no base Corvette. They're all Stingrays. And with the cars we've been showing, everybody's seen the other car, the Torch Red car that we've been showing. Everybody's seen that one. We really wanted to show different flavors of the car that you can order. This car is very sophisticated. It's a little more of a luxury GT, you know, kind of like your own private jet for the street. The red car was more, you know, a little aggressive, pure sports car. You know, Torch Red, adrenaline red interior, black wheels, real track oriented. We wanted to show through options and configurations the different statements that you can make. You can really configure the new Corvette Stingray to be the sports car that you want it to be. For example, there's 3 trim levels, 1LT, 2LT, 3LT. Very easy. This car actually is a 2LT car, and as you go up, there's more color in the interior. So we're going to have 10 exterior colors. A lot of them are our old favorites, you know. Torch Red is still here to stay. You know, like that one. Jake's favorite, Arctic White, is here. And also we have 2 new colors. Laguna Blue, which is a very bright blue, and actually that's my favorite. And Lime Rock Green. And it's the first time we've had green on the Corvette since 2001. So it's neat to bring that back.
There's 2 transmissions. We have the standard 7-speed manual with active rev match, which is a new feature on the standard. And how many people here are expert heel and toe downshift? I got a couple. You know, a couple people. But, you know, that's something that's always difficult to master. You can spend your whole life with. What the active rev match does is it automates that. It basically automates the flipping the throttle, makes it easier to do. You can control that with the paddle. Its default is off, and you can turn that on when you need it. The nice thing about it makes everybody into like an expert, you know, driver. Really makes you a better driver. Even if you're good at it, one of the neat things about it, it reduces the mental workload. Like, say you're learning a new track or a new road, you can concentrate on finding the optimal line, and then when you feel you're getting better at it, you can take over and do it yourself. We also have a 6-speed paddle shift automatic. We've optimized the shift times on that and had to beef it up for the torque. And then these cars we've been showing, the ultimate performance package we have for the Stingray product, the Z51 performance package. That has the larger wheels and tires you see here, 19s and 20s. Got Michelin Super Sports actually on the standard Corvette and with the Z51. And has larger brakes.